Run if you must.
Hello, operator. It's an emergency. Can you help me?
Hide if you can. Scream if you are able.
Who's there?
But above all, if you are alone, don't answer the phone. He is out there, somewhere in the crowd, behind you, beside you, ready to kill again.
No attempt to conceal the body. It's almost like he wanted it to be discovered.
The nurse, the mommy, the starlet, the student, the secretary.
I am frightened of you. What does that do to you?
All men, I killed and raped them all. No one can stop me,
You recognize this person?
because I'm too strong.
He had done it before. He would do it again. He is doing it now. Don't answer the phone.
Oh my God, we are back for another edition of Grindhouse Chic. As always, I am Robert Schneider, and I am joined by Matt Armstrong and Brian Baldwin. And Brian, I heard you had a hell of a day today. I heard you got
Best
to live.
day ever.
I heard you got to live your boyhood dream of going to the grand opening of Grindhouse. Well, the week of the grand opening of Grindhouse Video in your home of Knoxville, Tennessee. How was your trip to the Mecca?
It was amazing and everything that you would expect it to be. I will be honest, because they haven't even officially announced the opening. I think Mike from Grindhouse Video decided that he wanted to give everyone an opportunity to get acclimated, meaning his staff and himself included. Some stuff I think there's going to be a lot more pop up as far as decor and stuff goes. Right now it's and I don't mean this in a negative way, but it's kind of bare bones. It's just movies on shelves, a couple of corners set up with some little novelty items and shirts and things of that nature. But yeah, it was it's God, I don't want to sound too nerdy, but I guess if I'm going to, this is the right crowd, right? It's
Nerd.
Yeah, right. Because I mean, you see some of these movies, and you're like, I've only seen that online, and here it is in the flesh, and I can hold it, I can smell it, and lick it. Yeah, it was really cool. I took the opportunity to get caught up on my VS stuff. There was a couple that they did not have. I don't know whether that means they sold them all or they just haven't received them in yet. But got pretty good and caught back up. And I cannot wait to go again. There was actually one day during the week. So with my schedule, I pretty much just kind of sleep until I can, have enough time to get ready and then out the door. But one day I could hardly sleep. And when I say hardly, I think I slept for 30 minutes. And then for whatever reason, I just couldn't turn my brain off. And I almost decided to take the dangerous trek up there on no sleep. But I decided not to. I figured I'd wait till for my birthday weekend. It was a nice thing to have. So yes.
You also went to a horror convention this weekend?
Yeah, so it was called FrankenCon. It was the first time that this had happened. And it's kind of if I can take just a few seconds to give the background to it, it's a cool little hero story, I think, in a way, because so these guys locally have this podcast. It's called the Nerdy Laser Podcast, and they do movie reviews of stuff that we're into. And I remember when they first got started, and I mean, it was such a small little channel, and truthfully I don't really know how many followers and stuff they have right now. But anyway, these two guys were kind of able, with in conjunction to another local place I've discussed before, the Dungeon, they somehow were able to get in contact with all these people to fucking put this horror convention together. And it was just so cool to see that come. I mean, you know, Joe Bob Briggs, that's a huge name to get, you know. And John Dugan, who was awesome, by the way. If you guys are unfamiliar, he played Grandpa in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's been in various other films. That dude was awesome. Either he was fucking hammered, no pun intended, right? But he like, I picked up my photo that I wanted, you know, him to autograph for me and personalize and stuff. And we're doing our photo, and then he just starts breaking into song where he's like, his name was Brian. And it started like coming up with these words and like doing this little dance, and I'm like, all right, I'm fucking dancing with Grandpa from TCM right now. This is incredible. Yeah, it was a great time. It was fantastic.
Nice.
I'm going to go to one of our long-running jokes, Brian. It's obvious he has seen the Brian Baldwin honeymoon video because that is a theme song to it. And that's just an inside joke right there, so I am going to shut up. It's just funny, the two of us.
I love it.
I was surprised from the video you were sending us while you were there that the VHS section was giant. It seemed like I didn't think that was still like a hot commodity, really.
It's a big thing, man. And actually, when at the convention, my buddy Jason, who runs the dungeon, you know, he had some cool, you know, Blu-rays and stuff set out from some of your top tier stuff, but the majority of his table was taken up by tapes. And I got to tell you, man, I watched some people buy some fucking tapes. Now, he's told me before that like that's his big ticket. That's where he makes his most money, and he sells the most of those. And to see it, I say it like it's like this like elusive thing, but to see it in person, you know, it was it really was. It was surprising to me because I know there's all sorts of different ways to look at that stuff. I personally, I don't get it. I mean, when DVD came out, I was like, fuck yes. You know, like, shoot, bye-bye tapes.
Yeah.
Some people love them. I guess it's just the nostalgia.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Like, I grew up with VHS. I love VHS. I don't need to revisit that format. It's what's the point? It's not the way the directors originally intended, unless it was a shot on video, you know, direct to VHS or shot on VHS. So, yeah, I just don't see it. It looks like shit.
Yeah. I agree, man. I mean, I've got like, you know, the Indiana Jones and Star Wars movies on tape still and stuff, but I just kind of keep them around just because have them on the shelf, looks cool, whatever.
Yeah, but they're full screen. They're not widescreen. It's like I hate pan and scan so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I am not nostalgia for those days at all.
Have you guys seen the prices that people? I'm only a part of this group just because it. Well, I don't know. I guess the collector in me, even though I don't collect VHS tapes, it still piques my interest a little bit. I mean, I'm talking some serious money.
Well,
people
yeah,
pay like, yeah.
There are two really good documentaries on VHS collecting, and one is called "Adjust Your Tracking," and the other I think is called "Rewind This," and they're both really good films and kind of dig deep into the nostalgia for it, why people like it, but again, why would I want to watch Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark on VHS when I have it in 4K and it looks and sounds amazing?
Yeah.
Or my VHS copy of Oriental Hawaii. Why watch that piece of shit when I can watch the Vinegar Syndrome DVD in widescreen and it actually looks good. It actually looks good. And I don't have that on VHS. I own no VHS.
I found one randomly here that must have just got lost in a box or something, but it's the it's the Godzilla movie with Matthew Broderick. It's just like the one random VHS movie I have left apparently.
Nice. Yeah, to get back to your initial comment though, Matthew, it actually, I think the video maybe made it look a little bigger than it was. I mean, it's a good chunk of a wall, but trust me when I say that the majority of the real estate in there is not taken up by tapes.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just even a shelf I just thought was a lot. We've got some like resale stores here that sell, movies and stuff, and they've got like a ton of VHS. I was like, why are you guys buying these? It doesn't look like they ever move out of the store.
Scarecrow Video in Seattle has a shit ton of VHS. In fact, 2 levels of it compared to, and they sell DVDs and Blu-rays as well there, but they have an amazing VHS selection, and I believe they got non-profit status that to keep them around is like a historical place, because where else are you going to find these treasures?
Right.
And it's weird that the format really only lasted 20 years until DVD came and quickly took its place.
Mm-hmm.
And there's for one reason that Blockbuster Video didn't think DVDs were going to last. They thought they were going to go the way of the Laserdisc, which meant the studios could start pricing them at affordable prices. And every collector was like, why am I renting from them when I can just buy this for $20?
Yeah. Was it was VHS and then Laserdisc, right?
VHS, Laserdisc was like, I think early 90s, late 80s.
Okay.
I had a friend who had it was really, I thought it really sucked when we watched he had Mallrats on Laserdisc, and I thought it really sucked that he had halfway through the movie he had to go flip it over to the other side. That just seems like a lot of work for a movie.
Yeah. That wasn't even a long movie either, was it?
90 minutes.
Yeah.
And now on one Blu-ray disc you can get 2 cuts of the movie.
Yeah.
Do you guys have that Arrow release?
I do. It's for as much as I loathe Kevin Smith, this one is even more loaded than the previous DVD/Blu-ray of it.
Yeah, I don't even know. Surely it's not out of print or anything, right? I never got it. But...
It is not. And yesterday I made a trek to Barnes & Noble to buy Menace to Society from Criterion Collection, which I did not buy because I was shocked at their wall of Arrow releases. I spent way more than I wanted to. I picked up FM, the movie that's Beyond the Door 2, and Death Games, I think, with Steve Railsback, and then Sword and the Sorcerer on 4K.
Nice.
But I was shocked at how much Vinegar Syndrome they had as well. They had Scanner Cop 1 and 2, the individual releases. They had the Ebola Syndrome, which just boggles my mind that they would carry that.
Yeah. But as I've said in conversations we've all had in the past, I mean, ours just fucking sucks, man. There's nothing in there. Like, they used to have at least this just shows how shitty it was. So to begin with, all the movies were behind the register. You had to fucking ask the clerks to move around so you could see shit, and then ask them to pull it off the shelf. So it sucked to begin with. Now they don't even. Last time I was in there, they didn't even have that anymore. They just had a little stand up in front of the registers that had whatever the newest, the biggest and newest titles were. I mean, it's
that's how a lot of them are here, except for this store. So I had no problem driving the 30-mile round trip to get there.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of stuff I wanted to get, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not spending $100 on this. I didn't order it initially. There's a reason for it. But speaking of buying, we are, as we record this, we are a little bit less than 2 weeks away from the halfway to Black Friday sale, and I thought it might be fun that we talk about some recommendations that we have from the collection, either from partner labels and or Vinegar Syndrome Prime. And Matt, why don't we start with you?
I tried to go through and pick ones that were kind of low, but I couldn't like super recommend any of them. I think my first one, it's a little kind of a cheater one, but I feel like if you don't have New York Ninja yet and you're going into the sale, you've got to get New York Ninja.
Is that one a sale price now?
It should be. It's anything that came out since the last sale,
February, right? And back, right?
Yeah.
I think they generally go 3 months. So well, yeah, the Valentine's Day. That's why you're saying, yeah.
Okay. Well, what's your first pick, Brian?
I didn't even think to look at the numbers, Matt. That's a good angle on that. But I would say if you're new to Vinegar Syndrome, and I'm kind of cheating because I mentioned this on a previous episode that we did, but I really do. I think The Uninvited is just like one of the best in their catalog. I love that movie. Now, of course, if you're a slipcover completist, then you're going to have to go on the black market and suck some dick to get it. But
I don't get it. The movie's the important part. If you don't have a slipcover, it doesn't matter.
I do and I don't. Like the rational side of me thinks exactly what you just said. But I do. I like having them all. They look good. They're part of the release. They're part of the appeal.
Yeah, but it's really just to entice you to buy the first printing of it, so you can get the slipcover.
Yeah. I will say, like when people have come over and watched movies in the past, they're looking at my shelves and stuff. Those tend to be some of the ones that are like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "Well, let me tell you. Welcome." How do you like crack and other addictive things?
No, it is. They look beautiful and they add to the collectability of it. But if the only thing that matters is the movie, then that's the only thing that you should care about.
You're right. I will say that I gave a couple of slip covers away to actually one of our mutual friends because he's a huge collector of like the Crown titles. And I think I might slowly be pumping the brakes on it because it didn't bother me. I was like, he really wants these fucking things. Let him have them, Let the little asshole take them. Merry Christmas. I'm just kidding. I don't know why I just did that. It seemed like it'd be fun. But it didn't bother me. I thought it would. So maybe one day I can get to the point where I'm like, I don't fucking need them. It's like Bloodhook. I'm never getting that back. I'm not gonna fucking spend the money to get that back.
How much is the Bloodhook slip going for?
Oh, it's insane. And I sold mine cheap. I think I told you guys this. It was right when I lost my job. So I'm like, okay, well, gotta get rid of some stuff. I sold mine for $150, and most people, like the most that I was seeing on eBay that were sold were anywhere really between like $200 and $300.
Good lordy,
it's crazy, right?
Yeah, I'm waiting to see the episode of Pawn Stars where someone brings in their Vinegar Syndrome slip covers, and then you'll see Rick or whatever the other go. Vinegar Syndrome. They are a boutique label that specializes in sleeves from the 70s and 80s as long as it was shot on film. This looks like a complete slipcover collection of every film released in January 2017, including Bloodhook, which, how much are you asking for all this? $5,000? I don't know if that's how much it's worth, but I have a friend who's an expert who just...
Let me ask you, this is a good opportunity to drop this, and just out of curiosity, something that just popped in my head. So, like, say if we do ever live in a world where that happens, right? At that point, Vinegar Syndrome, they're pretty big. Would that take away the appeal for you?
No.
No.
No, I think the appeal will be taken away. Depends on the releases.
Mm.
But before we get to that, I'm going to give my first pick for my recommendations, and I don't think this one will last to the sale because they only have 32 left in stock, and that is, hold on, from AGFA, The Films of Sarah Jacobson, which features the really good film Mary Jane's Not a Virgin Anymore, and I Was a Teenage Serial Killer. There are 32 left in stock on this one.
Oh wow! When was that one?
This one came out
released?
God, probably it was released 2017. Before the AGFA deal happened, it's now one of their legacy titles. Meaning no slip covers.
Thinking of a different movie. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Matt, what's your second pick?
My second one. Let me go back to my page here. Oh God. How many are we doing? Like 3?
3 each, yeah.
Okay, I'll do one that's probably a little less known. Well, a lot less known. It's a partner label. And I was trying to think of who it was. It's called Death of Nintendo.
Okay.
I can actually just find it here real quick. But it's one of the few partner labels that I've actually sat down and watched. I have all of them just sitting here, sealed, not moved yet. But it was a really interesting, like, fun kind of like coming of age tale of this group of boys, and I think they're in the Philippines, so there are subtitles. But it takes place during the early 90s, and it just has it has a lot of nostalgia to it because they're playing these Nintendo games like as kids, and they're working towards this transition of becoming men, which to them involves finally getting why can't I think of the name for it? Circumcised.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it goes through this. There's a little side story to it that I won't get into, but I just thought it was a really interesting, like really kind of like wholesome kind of movie. And when we're watching what we're watching all the time from Vinegar Syndrome and these partner labels, it was nice to see something like that, kind of just like a wholesome coming of age kind of story.
Cool, man. You sold me on that. That sounds good.
I haven't watched it yet. I mean, I own it, but
it's Altered Innocence, by the way.
Yeah,
Okay.
man, their films are so fucking artsy.
Yeah, this one was not. This one just felt like a 90s movie almost.
I own it. I'll have to check it out, but man, every time I watch one, I just think they're just so pretentious.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the directors and writers, they like to smell their own farts. And now I think my favorite release from that label was their first release they did through Vinegar Syndrome with just the shorts and music videos. Mm-hmm. I thought some of those were really nice and visually appealing, and the Fred Halston collection, I thought that was Altered Innocence, right?
Yes, yeah. It was.
I thought those were both pretty good.
That's getting pretty low too. As in pretty low, I mean 463, but
that's a number out there that could. That's a number out there that could not make it through.
Down from 2000.
Brian, what's your next pick?
I'll kind of cheat slightly and drop I guess technically 4 times, but I was gonna say as far as the adult realm of things, Hot and Saucy Pizza Girls I think is a must own and a must see. I love that movie. And Pretty Peaches, which of course you can get the trilogy on Blu-ray. Yeah, I love those movies. Of course, there's a commonality there with Desiree, in those titles, but at least Hot and Saucy and Pretty Peaches one.
That is cool. My next pick, I know I just went away. I mentioned I don't like pretentious movies, but this was a pretty interesting vampire film, Night Owl.
I haven't watched it. I have it, but I haven't seen it. Isn't Leguizamo's in that, right?
Was he? Yes. It would be a movie that would pair well with Jim Jarmusch's Only Lovers Left Alive, which is another pretentious vampire film, and maybe the hunger for a trilogy of pretentiousness.
What was the first one you mentioned?
Only Lovers Left Alive with Tom Hiddleston and Tilda Swinton, which is a really good film. But Night Owl is just an interesting film, and it's limited 2,000 and then is sold out. No, I'm sorry. It's just these have the standard edition. Only 509 left in stock. All right, Matt, what is your final pick?
Final one. I was gonna do the blasphemous thing and suggest Dead Heat, but I won't.
Also, it's not available from the sale yet.
Oh, true. Oh, well, I don't think this last one is then either. Well, I guess in a kind of a way it is. I was going to suggest just jumping in and grabbing some Rudy Ray Moore movies. Now that you say that, I don't think the box will be included. But yeah, if you can get in there and get any of the other solo movies, they're all really enjoyable. But I did just notice that box was from the February sale, right?
Yeah. No, it was from No, it was in February. It was Black Friday.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it? Oh. God, man, time flies. Shit.
It went from 5,000 and it's down to 650 now.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll just say any of the Rudy Ray Moore movies, always worth getting, and they've got to be getting somewhat low at this point.
My personal favorite is The Human Tornado, otherwise known as Dolomite 2: The Human Tornado, which is also Ernie Hudson's first movie.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
All right, Brian, what is your final pick?
Well, I'm sure I'm like you guys. There's so many that I think are worthy of your time, but one that brings me so much joy every time I watch it is Dial Code Santa Claus. That has become a household Christmas favorite. I think it's just such a it's like a fucking family movie, but there's like this weird creepy shit thrown in there, and it's just I love it. I don't know. I can't praise that one enough, so I'll hold my tongue so I don't rant on like a raving lunatic. But I wish that one got more love. I understand, we've had several conversations about like, why is this not selling? And of course it always boils down to a lot of people don't want to watch subtitled movies. They don't want to watch foreign films. But I think it's a wonderful, wonderful film.
I concur. It was one of those movies I probably would not have bought if it was released by anyone else, because it doesn't sound like something that would interest me. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad I've seen it. It's one of my favorite films from Vinegar Syndrome, and it's just a delight.
I wish they would release the soundtrack. And when I say soundtrack, I really just want the main song from it.
I'm sure you can find. I'm sure you can find it in places to download.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I have the vinyl soundtrack.
Yeah, they released
it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Well, fuck
I think
me.
It went pretty quick.
Order that. Oh, well, never mind.
Yeah.
Damn it.
All right. Yeah, you know what, Brian? Just drive to wherever he lives in Ohio and break into his house and steal it.
Yeah.
And get me a copy of the Cafe Flesh soundtrack as well.
I can't listen to any of them. They're just sitting here, so.
All right.
Record player broken, or you don't have one yet, or
just have never had one.
That's so sad that you have the vinyl and can't listen to it.
I know.
Do they at least give
Vinegar Syndrome.
Do they at least give you a digital code to download it?
I don't think so. I mean, I haven't opened any of them, so I don't know if there's something floating around in there or not.
All right, my final pick, and I might be going out on a limb and saying this is one of my favorite releases of all time. It is the movie The Incubus with John Cassavetes.
Yes, solid recommendation.
Fucking great. One of the best twist endings, I think, in any horror film out there, and I have no idea how this film hasn't gotten the love and people aren't praising it. In fact, I would kill if Vinegar Syndrome released this in 4K.
Yeah. No, it's a good one. Shit, I need to revisit that, man. I haven't actually thought about that one in a while.
We should talk about that in a few weeks.
Yeah.
But I think those are all good choices, and like it's gonna be a difficult sale if just because the Severin one is just right on the heels of it, and I have a feeling they're gonna have some powerhouse releases this year as well.
Yeah, it seemed like they had a. I was gonna say it seemed like they had a more titles announced that they're going to be coming out with this year than they usually do.
They do it every year, and it just sucks that they.
When I was.
Go on, Brian.
No, go ahead.
I'm glad they're wait for their sale, but I'll spend more money on this. I think I'll spend more money on the Severin sale, which I've been doing just for some of their back titles, than Vinegar Syndrome.
Yeah, all I was going to mention was walking around Grindhouse today. I was reminded of just how many solid what I hope a lot of them would be blind buys for me, but how many titles they've released that I want, and I just haven't been able to scoop up. I think they had quite a few, luckily, but I think my next purchase will probably be the Andy Milligan set. I almost Robert, I was thinking of you actually. I was this close to picking up the Masturbating Gunman. Now was that Indicator or was it Severin?
That was Severin and whatever their sideline was.
Okay. I'm not Indicator's not the damn it. What is their side label?
I don't remember. It's Intervision. I was gonna say
yes. Yeah. Yeah, I was drawing a blank there. But yeah, I remembered you saying like for a movie called Masturbating Gunman, I wish there would have been more of a masturbating gunman. I was like, well, I'll pass.
It's one of those movies. It's like the Intervision stuff just bugs me. I mean, that was not a good movie, and neither was The Forbidden Door.
Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of Beyond the Seventh Door. Never mind, go on.
Which is the Beyond.
Huh?
Isn't Beyond the Seventh Door the Fulci film?
No, dude, this is like, and I may be getting the title wrong. I'm pretty sure it's called Beyond the Seventh Door. It's like this. I can't even remember what where the movie is made. It's like a really crazy, like, this dude's trying to make his way through this temple. I think if I remember correctly, he's like some sort of a thief or something. But it's kind of like an Indiana Jones style, but like made by someone completely bonkers.
God, those are the best movies. I love the rip-off films. Now, here's a fun fact. Did you know Indiana Jones inspired 2 rip-off television series? Both were released in the same season, same year, and both didn't make it to I think neither one made it to a second season.
No idea.
I can't think.
The first one aired on ABC. It was called Tales of the Gold Monkey, that starred the dad from Seventh Heaven, and then the other one was called The other one was called Bring Him Back Alive, that starred Bruce Boxleitner, who was on Scarecrow, Mrs. King, and the greatest sci-fi series of all time, Babylon 5. That is not a joke.
I forget about that show, Babylon 5.
It's on HBO Max. You should be watching it. I totally forgot what we were talking about. Oh, I kind of want to go into a subject. What do you think the box set they're releasing this year is?
You know, I had seen a couple things, and they all kind of seemed like they were, like the adult films. The one guess that I was kind of thinking of was, you know, they're making the one drive-in one Blu-ray now. I was wondering if they were going to surprise us with 2 more of those and make a box set drive-in.
I was thinking the same thing, but I think it would be an additional set of just some re-releases on Blu-ray, which would be smart.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that we're going to see that next year with 10 years, 10 films.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
other than like everyone's been saying like Taboo and I forget the other one they were saying, but it seems like that's what everyone thinks it is.
I don't see it. I don't see them releasing an adult film. Well, actually, I take that back. All bets are off because Thriller is technically an adult film.
Yeah.
So maybe. I don't see it with Cloak and Dagger being one of the releases for this year.
Right.
Brian, what are your thoughts?
I really don't know. I mean, I've the same as you guys. I've looked over everyone's comments, and there's some pretty good guesses out there. But it's like almost like every time I think, oh, there's a possibility this could be it, I find a reason to not believe it. That it would be. Like someone even threw out, and I'm only mentioning this one because I only seen one person mention it. I was like, okay, well, that kind of breaks up the monotony of all the taboo and stuff like that, But someone had mentioned, God, what is the director's name? That did Don't Panic and what was the other? There's 3 releases. Yeah. Same director, all Spanish horror films.
Yeah, but those all have slipcovers.
I know that, so that's what I'm saying. When I seen that, I was like, okay, that's good. But then that's exactly where my mind is. Like, well, they already have slips. What's the likelihood of them putting a box out for it?
I don't know. I mean, but do most of the boxes have 4 movies or 3 movies in them?
I think usually 3. But I think that the Rudy Ray Moore movies were all like the old, real skinny cases. So I think that's why they fit 4 in there.
Well, wasn't Camille Keaton 4 and Forgotten Gialli? Those are
the Forgotten Gialli is usually 3. The Camille Keaton was 3.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah,
but it could be Taboo. I just don't see it. I am curious what the box set looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But it could also be a Dorenzi set if they're going the adult route. Now the other thing.
I was just going to ask, do you think they might bring back the concept of the Cardona box with the magnetized thing? Since we never really got to see that, come through.
What happened to Volume 2?
I guess apparently, like, what was it, Matthew? Like, I think something with like the rights and everything. When he died, they couldn't. Yeah, they couldn't get everything.
I think it was something to do with that. Yeah, something to do with that, combined with I think people were pissed about like that's the one that had like the real animal.
Yes.
Mutilation in it or whatever. I think it was like a combo of the 2.
You know what? It's disgusting they did that, but Cannibal Holocaust is still in circulation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I just bought it the other day, actually.
And wasn't there that same? Let's see. So, Secta Siniestra, you've got frog dissection, Ebola syndrome. I'm pretty sure that some of that was confirmed. I mean, I'm with everyone else, right? Like, who the fuck really wants to know that shit happen and see it? But like, I don't know. I guess I still think the film should be out there. That's all. I think that's important.
I do too. Now, look, I thought the Cardona set was okay. I'm glad I got to see them. I thought the movies were really silly and partially poorly made, especially the Bermuda Triangle one. But I don't know. I guess that's a perfect segue into a very poorly made movie. From Crown International Pictures comes Don't Answer the Phone. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to read the description of the movie. Hold on. Why is my phone acting like shit? I'm totally don't.
Well, while you're looking that up, I'll take the opportunity.
Hold on,
I told you guys earlier. Sorry, I dropped the ball. I didn't watch it. So I'm just going to kick back.
I'm going to give you the plot right now. Vietnam vet, amateur bodybuilder, and talented porno photographer Kurt Smith is a crazed killer who stalks the streets of Los Angeles, picking up young women, strangling them in lurid fashion, and sexually abusing their dead bodies. You would think for a movie called Don't Answer the Phone, he would have been on the phone more than he actually was. I have confused this movie with When a Stranger Calls. He Knows You're Alone. Because this movie actually should be called He Knows You're Alone.
Yeah, I was even going through afterwards to see if there was like another name this movie went by, and this was it. This is always it.
But it is a sleazy movie. And it's so bad, it's good, and it feels more like a episode of a cop series with more time with giving the killer more time and more boobs. Like it felt like there was a backstory between the two main cops, with the partner being more smarmy, and I wanted to know more about him because he seemed like a loose cannon, but we didn't get much with him. And the other cop, he gets to have sex with the psychiatrist. They figure out the crime at the last minute. He's able to come in and save the day. And the amateur bodybuilder is able to rip out of the handcuffs like it's no one's business. But, oh my God, this movie was all over the place. And I learned a lot of lessons that in the 80s, it seemed much easier to kill people because they were so naive. Like the hitchhiker. Imagine, and I've only been in LA for 2 days, and I've already met a photographer who wants to take my picture.
Yeah. So I hear what you're saying. But I'm going to say that I actually really, really liked this movie.
Is it because of some of the witty dialogue in the movie?
It definitely was not that.
This movie had one of the greatest, some of the greatest lines in film history. Come on, Winky. No one is worth $50. This is one of my favorites. Let go of my chain. My husband will kill me, said one of the hookers during the bust of the massage parlor. And the greatest line ever, I will say this might be one of the greatest lines in cinematic history. Do you want to live to be able to fuck again?
Yeah, see, how can you argue with that?
That might be the only question that there is one of the few questions that there is a yes, you can only answer yes to. Because if someone says no, they are open for ridicule.
So speaking of lines, can you think of any other movie where the last line in the movie right before the fade out is someone who just killed someone else throwing a weird catchphrase out, and then it just fades to black?
No, that's why I considered it a TV. It was a TV cop show, because it's not often that after he blows the bad guy away into the pool, he just says, "Adios, creep."
Fade to black, roll credits.
And what was brilliant about it, there was no music in the credits. It was just credits.
Yeah.
But we need to talk about the main actor, the villain of the film, Kurt Smith, played by the wonderful Nicholas Worth. we need to talk about his fashion choice at the end of the film. Those might have been the tightest fitting jeans that any serial killer should be wearing.
Well, this one shot to the top of my list.
A man of his size would not be able to walk in pants that tight.
So with those pants, didn't he also have like a
sweet belt buckle?
Well, and that, but is this the same outfit where he had the like skin tight sweater turtleneck like in the middle of California summer?
No, I don't think so. I think he was wearing a button shirt.
That was a good look too.
Yeah, he definitely made some bold fashion choices. But it's amazing that he was able to kill people in his studio without causing attention with the meek toy salesman next door to him.
Yeah.
And I will say, I think that might be one of the greatest scenes ever in this, well, at least in this film, where they go in to the wrong office and then treat that guy as the worst criminal ever and then refuse to help him clean up the mess they made.
Remember that, Brian?
I was literally just thinking to myself because I have seen this. It's just been a hot fucking minute. None of this. It's like jogging. I do remember. I try to watch a lot of these on my own because, my wife will say like, "Oh yeah, that was great," but I can tell she's fucking miserable. And I remember thinking with this one after I finished, I'm like, man, I actually think she would have liked that one. But everything you guys are saying just makes it sound terrible. So I don't know. I'm just gonna have to revisit it. But I do. I remember being very pleased with it.
It's a very sleazy movie. The acting just comes out of every cliche cop, psychiatrist. Again, it feels like a long episode of a bad 70s television show.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's a fun movie, and there's a reason why this one keeps on getting re-released over and over again, because as bad as it is, it's a fun film.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought of something really random with this one, actually. Do you guys remember it didn't last long. It was like a really short period of time that there were fake vinegar syndrome slips popping up on eBay. You guys remember this?
No.
I remember that.
You do math? Okay. Don't Answer the Phone was one of them. And I remember thinking when they released the official slipcover for that, how remarkably fucking close it looked to someone's. I'm serious. Like, it's pretty damn similar to what this, somebody was just making slipcovers and throwing them up there, and people who didn't know any better were buying them.
Look, everyone who probably bought a counterfeit slipcover deserved whatever shitty thing they got, because it's so easy to go to the website to research if a disc actually had a slipcover in the first place.
Mm-hmm. It's true. But I personally, I like to guide people, and so one guy bought it, okay, and he announced it in the collectors group. So anyone who's a part of this collectors group knows how fucking brutal these people can be. So they were railing this kid, man. I mean, fucking just destroying him. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna try to talk this dude off a ledge, because he was acting confused. Like, he's like, what are you talking about? I fucking bought it. Of course it's real. And everyone's like, no, you didn't pass it. So I'm like trying to politely explain like what everyone's trying to say is that Vinegar Syndrome never officially, releases, blah, blah, blah. And then he fucking got snarky with me. He's like, well, I fucking know that now. And I'm like, God damn.
I just spent a week's wages on this slipcover that was never available before, and it turned out to be just a piece of paper taped together with the words "Don't answer the phone."
I was curious as to what the quality was. I mean, I think if someone's going to go as far as to fake those slips, then they probably would have to know like that they're pretty good quality.
I don't think so. I mean, that cardstock is pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Unless they have.
Sorry, I keep doing this. By the way, I don't want you guys to think I'm crazy. I'm using these earbuds that do not fit my ears well at all, but they were right beside me, so I don't have ear mites or anything. I'm just.
I mean, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just gonna say this movie is missing something that Night of the Demon taught us that we need in a film. It did not have a dick ripping sequence. There was no dick rip.
Yeah, but he was only into the girls, you know.
I mean, if I was thinking one of his victims should get revenge and cut off his dick, much like in the weird ending of the original Maniac.
Yeah. So speaking of his victims, what was this guy's deal? Was he like performing like purity ceremonies to these women, or trying to like cleanse them in some way? Because it was like very religious.
It was obvious he was abused by his mom, and then he killed his mom, and he sees all these women as his mom.
Yeah, but it seemed like he would only pick up. Oh, maybe not. Maybe that's not true. Because I know that he picked up the girl from the radio station show because she had like daddy issues or whatever. He picked up the hitchhiker, the hooker. The one was a nurse who sounded like she was having like a real flirtatious conversation with her dad.
No, that was her mom she was talking to.
Oh, was it?
With a man's voice. they didn't fix that one in post.
But yeah, I don't know, it kept seeming like he was like praying to that statue, and he like broke it out during when he killed the girl in his studio. And I didn't know if he was doing some like, I don't know, some sort of religious like cleansing ceremony and then before killing them or something.
I have no idea. All I can tell you is the weights he was lifting. He wasn't lifting much.
Yeah.
He had maybe 30 additional pounds on that bar, but not much more than that.
Yeah.
But
I think I remember that part. Does he live like in a really small apartment?
We saw his studio, not much else of his life.
How weird is that of me? Like the one thing, this guy lifted weights. I remember
because the weightlifting scenes were awkward.
Yeah,
it looked like he was pretending to struggle with weights that no one should struggle with, unless they've never lifted weights before.
It was even more awkward the scenes after that when he would be staring in the mirror and he'd be like, "Am I strong enough for you now, Daddy?" And he would just like keep saying weird stuff like that.
Never done that.
It's such a bad movie.
I'm gonna start going to the gym and just staring in the mirror while I'm lifting and doing that.
As you should. What you should also do is I don't have anything else to say there. Robert Hammer, the writer and director of this movie, has only done this film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, did you watch the the director intro when you booted this one up?
I did, yes.
I thought that was going to be like some insight into the movie, and it was literally the director saying, "I'm Robert Hammer. I hope you enjoy the movie." Why did they do that?
Yeah, I find that to be the case with the majority of those director intros that they've released. How are the
it's like this. You guys are
on this one. Like, do they have?
It's
Not
like
really.
It's like they're in shock that people are still interested in this movie. I filmed this movie in a week. I wrote it in an hour. The main actor, he was on so much coke while we filmed it. We actually shot him in the pool, and he still lived.
Nice.
I don't know. It's such a ridiculous movie.
I think one of the main things I liked about it is, and it's something that I like in in general is it's like somewhat told through the eyes of the villain. So it's like you're kind of like following the protagonist story kind of, and I liked that. I wish that it would have had more connection. Like I kind of wish all of his deaths would have been more connected to the radio call-in show, and I don't know, maybe that could have made the name make a little more sense.
Yeah, I thought it was weird when he picked up one of her patients.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was too big of a coincidence, but it seemed like he was stalking her.
Yeah,
because you'd have pictures of her and the cop.
Mm-hmm.
I wish what made her the final girl, because he mentioned that she was the one that he was waiting for.
Yeah,
and it never fully established why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't know if it was just because, I don't know, he somewhat would call in and talk about his problems in a kind of weird way.
But I think he was just fucking with her.
Yeah. Well, that's now that you bring that up, that's something I was confused about, because they keep bringing up this whole thing with like split personalities. And I was wondering if that, it's probably not, but I was wondering if that was like one of his personalities that was calling in.
I don't think so. There's that scene where he was pretending to act all remorseful and untie her, and then
Mm-hmm.
it just seemed like he was fucking with her.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I just thought that it was weird that they were kind of like, driving that in a little bit, the whole split personality thing with the psychologist.
But there was, I think he was telling her what she wanted to hear, what he thought would help with her diagnosis. I just think he was fucking with her, and
yeah, might have been.
It's just so weird that there was a time in our country where people called into the radio for psychologists to give them advice in 5-minute increments.
Yeah.
I'm cured. But I don't know. It was. I would have loved to have seen this movie in the theater just to see what the reaction was like. Back in the day, I'd also love to see it in a theater today, because I think people would be laughing their asses off.
Yeah.
It's such a weird, fun, bad movie.
Did they ever explain how his scarf choking thing worked? Like putting the coin in it? Did that have some sort of...
As someone who doesn't know how to kill anything, I don't know. I don't know the significance of it.
Because I thought I remember the cops talking about that specifically, but I couldn't remember.
The cops talked about a lot of things, and a lot of it was considered bad writing.
I can see that.
Really bad writing. I think Brian might be offended because he walked away.
He went to watch the movie.
Oh.
I'm here
to watch this.
All right. So, how many pairs of overly tight jeans would you give this film?
I'm gonna go. I don't know why. I just really enjoyed this one. I'm gonna go 3.5. I don't know what it was that I was like. I felt more into it than a lot of them that we've watched. Yeah, stupid name, stupid writing, but I really enjoyed it.
He was good as the villain. He felt threatening. He could not save this movie, so I'm going to give it a 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it had a dick ripping sequence, I'd give it a 5, but it doesn't.
What if it was his own dick?
I would give it a 10 then. I would give it a 10. But no, I don't know. It was just a. I think part of me, again, when it was released, the Scorpion Blu-ray, I don't think had been out 1.5 years by that point. So I felt disappointed, and I don't remember there being a lot of new extras to it, except for maybe the interview with the director.
Yeah. So I guess, what do you think is the reasoning for this movie like being around so much with all these people picking it up? And
I think it's because it's a sleazy movie.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. It has all the ingredients a genre film lover would have. It has bad acting, it has boobs, and it has a lot of good kills in it. The only thing missing from this film is a really good explosion
and a dick ripping scene.
Yeah. I mean, this movie would have made sense for a dick ripping scene, though it did have him channeling the Incredible Hulk as he successfully got out of the handcuffs.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't the cop just kill him then? And why didn't he call for backup as he was driving to her house?
All valid questions.
And why did he leave his partner where there?
Yeah, maybe he just wanted to save the day on his own, you know?
I mean, he already had sex with her. It's not like he was going to get another reward unless anal. I mean, yeah. Is that what you get when you rescue a woman from a psychopathic killer who breaks in her home and strikes at the moment where she is getting naked?
I'd say that's a fair reward.
Misogyny was so great in the 80s and 90s and forever. Misogyny has to end, and that's what he Don't Answer the Phone is about, the death of misogyny. It was all a metaphor. Oh fuck! This movie was...
Side note, Brian, are you slamming makeshift Jaeger bombs?
No. No. This is McCormick. I'm just tasting it with soda because I'm fucking old.
Oh, I thought you had like a Red Bull. I was like, oh man, Brian's getting into it tonight.
Yeah, I generally don't drink caffeine at all. You guys would hate me.
I don't drink caffeine either. I just drink water.
Yeah.
But all right. So Brian, I know you didn't see this movie, but how many pairs of tight jeans would you give it?
Okay, so again, just solely based on remembering at least my feeling after watching the movie, and I enjoyed it. You know, I'll tell you what. Why don't we? Because this won't happen again. I'm not going to let this happen again. This was bad time management on my part. I will watch it this week along with whatever other film we're going to discuss next week, and I will give you my rating next week. Does that sound fair?
Yep.
Yeah.
I did. And I'm sorry I stepped out there, but I was absolutely going fucking insane trying to remember if I had gotten the name of that movie correct. So yes, if you guys do not own this or have not seen this, you do, and it's Canadian, by the way.
Oh, fuck that!
With Yugoslavian-born actor Lazar Rockwood. This is a good one.
I think,
go ahead.
I think Lazar Rockwood is a good name for a porno actor, and I got to go back to Don't Answer the Phone. We both did not mention that the actor who played Porky in Porky's and Porky's 3, Porky's Revenge, played a pornographer in this film. And it was amazing that for the entire film, he did not stand up once.
Was he the guy collecting the photographs that the main guy? Yeah, that guy had like quite possibly the worst case of dandruff I've ever seen on film.
He was also in the John Cusack classic Better Off Dead. He played the owner of the restaurant John Cusack's character worked at.
Nice.
All right, so Brian, you're gonna watch it. You're gonna give us your opinion on it this week.
Yeah, I really was excited about it. I'm sorry I dropped the ball. There's just too much going on this week, and I thought I could do it, but
not a problem. I'm gonna give us 3 movies to choose from to watch for our next one. One is a film I believe we can watch. I don't have it yet. I believe you can watch this film on Shudder, and I'll make sure before you decide on it. Is Cheap Thrills.
Why does that sound so familiar?
Because it's an amazing film. Hold on. The other one is, you know what? We should just watch The Incubus fuck that. We should just do that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm down for it. I'm looking up right now to see if I can. You said Cheap Thrills is on Shudder.
Yeah. Well, let's just watch The Incubus, and we'll do Cheap Thrills another day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I think we might expand our audience if we talk about John Cassavetes. One of the greatest filmmakers, actors, and I'm pretty sure lovers in Hollywood.
I finally just watched my first Cassavetes film ever.
Which one?
Like 2 weeks ago. Killing of a Chinese Bookie.
Which version?
The one everyone told me not to watch, the super long one.
I prefer the long one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. It reminded me kind of just in the style of Do the Right Thing, where, you know, no real format to it. You're kind of just wandering around watching like a day in this guy's life.
But man,
and I really liked that.
Cassavetes paints a beautiful picture of this guy's life and everything he's going through, and it's such a tragically beautiful film.
Yeah.
And Seymour Castle is so fucking good in the lead role.
I have seen Cheap Thrills, and yes, that's a good one. That's kind of a random mention from you. I gotta admit.
It's one of those movies I just love. I love David Koechner, Ethan Embry,
Mm-hmm.
Pat Healy. But no,
Cool.
This is such Incubus, Cassavetes. We're gonna class it up for our next episode.
Okay.
We need some of that around here.
You know what? I might wear a monocle.
Ooh.
Before we leave,
Only a monocle.
Brian, I know you had your birthday weekend. We celebrate your birthday that you made another rotation around the sun. But was there anything that you watched last week that you want to tell us about?
Okay, actually, I'll take an opportunity to say, going on the horror convention, FrankenCon. So they had a film festival, and it really reminded me, I guess is the right way to put it. I generally am not the kind of person who gravitates towards short films. I just never have been. I went into it a little apprehensively. I kind of thought that I would see a lot of artsy-fartsy kind of stuff going on. And I got to tell you, aside from like one out of the, God, there's like 10 of them short films that they played, I was so wrong. And it was so cool to see these little indie filmmakers, because some of them like fucking went hard with like their gore and their practical effects. It was so cool. Outside of that, as I've told you guys in our group chats and stuff, I'm just dragging myself through the depths of hell of watching every random found footage film that I can find.
All right, what is up with that? How is somebody who doesn't like Lake Mungo trying to work his way through almost all the found footage films?
Well, not all. I mean, I guess that's an unrealistic goal, but I'm trying just to kind of, I don't know. I again, when I find a good one, I'm like, all right, and that gives me a little bit of energy to do another one. Like I came across one called yeah, I'm really selling it, right? I came across one called like the Lost Tapes of something, some woman's name. But you know, when I was watching that, I was like, holy shit, this acting is great. It's a snowy setting, which I love snowy horror settings. It's one of my favorites. And it had some genuinely good scares in there. I kind of, there's something like really comforting to me about, you know, turning all the lights off and sitting there, and I'll turn on my electric fireplace, you know, and that's the only kind of light going. And it's sort of like allowing myself to be in an environment to get scared. And I know that jump scares are not a lot of people's favorites, but to me, it's just kind of fun to get that jar. Unfortunately, a lot of them don't deliver that. But anyway, I don't really know. It's just something I've been into.
I'm gonna make a point out. 101 Films released an all-region version of The Last Broadcast, which I think is a pretty good found footage film. So
that is good. Yeah.
If the deluxe version is still in print, I recommend picking it up. I think Orbit Video still might have it, or Diabolic. Matt, what about you? Have you watched anything good?
You guys know my admiration for Nicolas Cage. And I'll just say I went and saw The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and it was, I don't want to say like a masterpiece, but right below it, it was just really well done, really good story, really like heartfelt. Surprisingly, I was expecting it to be kind of like a mockery, kind of like, oh yeah, we got Nicolas Cage, let's just talk about how shitty his career is now. But it was really good. Robert, I know you brought up that JCVD movie comparison earlier, and I kind of thought the same thing about that one. Kind of just like, kind of like tugged on the heartstrings. It's sad to see, like, someone who was like such a big star at one point that you appreciate, and then kind of see like, the path that they're on now. And so it was nice to see him, in a theater for one, but see him in something that was actually really, really well done.
I'm gonna have to see it. I still got to see the new Michelle Yeoh movie.
Also really good.
I have not been to the theater since Doctor Strange last week.
I think those two, the Michelle Yeoh and the Nicolas Cage, are probably my 1 and 2 for the year so far.
I don't know about that.
Oh God.
There's been a lot of good movies that have come out, and I still haven't seen them, so I can't judge it.
I will say one, and I didn't watch it this last week. It's been a couple of weeks ago, but I'll tell you one that I was really disappointed in, that I was really excited for, and I didn't get to see it in theater, so I went ahead and picked up the 4K because I found it relatively cheap. Did you guys get around to watching The Green Knight?
No.
You know what I'm talking about, though?
No.
It was an A24 release. Kind of marketed itself a little bit as like a kind of like a medieval fantasy kind of a deal. Man, it just, I've seen a lot of people raving about it. It did not connect with me at all. It was utterly boring, and they bring in like these really cool aspects. It kind of think like Pan's Labyrinth, but just like different time period and not good. Yeah, I don't know.
I thought that one from the trailer, I thought that one looked really, really cool, but I kind of heard the same thing, that it was kind of a stinker.
Yeah.
That sucks. I really haven't seen much this week because I've been pretty busy at work and comedy and recovering, but I want to talk about 3 to 4 releases that are coming out this week that I think everyone should buy. The first is Licorice Pizza. I just adore that film from last year.
I heard it was great. Yeah.
The second is Val Kilmer in Top Secret. And then the two new Shout Factory 4Ks, Escape from New York and The Craft.
Who's putting out Top Secret? Just the studio?
Paramount, yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Does it have any extras? They don't say if there's any extras. I'm going to say probably nothing with it.
Yeah.
I've seen a wonderful edition. God, I'm sorry. I feel like a broken record. I just realized that. Anyway, again, when I was at Grindhouse today, I seen an edition of did you guys ever watch that movie Snowtown?
That sounds familiar.
It's I believe it was based on a true story. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's an Australian film, and it follows a family at first, but basically your main guy, he takes it upon himself to kill people that are involved in this pedophilic ring that's happening. And it's a pretty heavy movie, but it has this really cool twist in it where, you kind of start off with like a really heavy family drama because you see all this pedophile stuff going on, and then it kind of sort of turns into a horror film.
Just like that, you demonetize this video. Not that we were making any money of it, but
well, anyway, just like 101 Films has a release of it that I didn't even know existed. So I'll probably pick that up at some point. It's a good movie if you guys ever get a chance to watch it.
We'll have to check it out, but we will have to do it next week as we end this show, like we end every show, by saying we'll see you next week as we talk about. How have I already forgotten when we were talking about? Because it's 11:30 as we record.
It's the real classy one.
Oh yeah. Incubus with John Cassavetes. Yeah. You know what? I might pull out my Cassavetes box set this week.
Yeah, I need to go through it some more. I didn't know what to expect jumping into that first one, but I definitely enjoyed it.
I will say in that box set, A Woman on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown is one of my least favorite movies of his because it feels too real, and it's good. Peter Falk he's just great in everything he does. All right. We'll talk about this next week. We're going to talk about Cassavetes. We're going to talk about how he has done so many interesting things, from Italian films to Rosemary's Baby to his last film, which is an adaptation of The Tempest, which I remember seeing a trailer for that either before Star Wars or Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, it's going to be Cassavetes on Grindhouse Chic, and it just seems that is just two things that don't go well together. So we will see you next week.
See ya.
See ya.